So I'm going to be doing what every obsessive guitarist and metalhead likes to do best, which is ranting about Metallica. I am going to be moving in with my partner soon, and so I'm just kind of enjoying the last time that I can sit at my desk and rant into a microphone and not have to even explain to anyone. You know, this is the last time, the last few weeks of living alone. So, I'm just going to do my little Metallica tier list, and I promise you that this one is very different from any tier list of Metallica albums that I've ever seen on the internet, and that's why I'm making it. Usually, pretty much every Metallica tier list of their albums looks something like this. You have Master of Puppets all the way at the top. You have Ride the Lightning at the top. Black Album, depending on, how heavy the person likes their metal, it could be down here, it could be up here, but it's always near the top. Then you have Load and Reload, and then Saint Anger at the bottom. I promise you my list is not going to look like this. It's going to be very different. I have some very differing opinions, and I'm going to be talking a lot of shit, but, all I ask is that you just hear me out. You don't have to agree with me, but just, hear me out here. So I'm actually going to go chronologically. Metallica, obviously, I wasn't alive when, they started putting out their early stuff. When I got into them, the Black Album was the one that everyone recommended to me. But the album that really got me into them was Kill 'Em All. And that one is a hell yeah brother out of 10. That is going right in S for sick fucking album. It's way too low on everyone else's lists. I don't really understand that. I mean, this album is fucking Riff City. In fact, the song that made me realize that I actually like Metallica was Jump in the Fire. And I got my guitar here because, of course, that's kind of my makeshift Metallica tone. But this riff right here, that riff fucking slays. And as soon as I heard that, I was just like, these guys can really thrash, and they're not just a bunch of boring dad rockers. Because in the early 2000s and late 90s, that's kind of what they were doing. Kill 'Em All, it just, there's so many good riffs on here. That one from the Four Horsemen is fucking sick. No Remorse, that's a really underrated song. I love the way, I love the riffs on this album. I love the way everything sounds. I even like the solos, even if Kirk was taking some of Dave Mustaine's ideas, I think the way that he played some of those licks, like this part in Seek and Destroy. Shit. Where he's really digging into those notes and really letting them hit you. I'm in the minority. I like the way this album sounds. I think it's really well produced, and that it does exactly what it's set out to do, which is to make a really raw combination of new wave of British heavy metal and punk rock. It sounds like it was recorded in a garage, but you can hear all the instruments, and the guitar just sounds fucking ferocious. I've never heard a guitar sound like that on any other album. It's a very unique guitar tone that apparently came from this one Marshall that was unfortunately stolen. But I kind of always try to emulate it in some ways with my own guitar tone. My Metallica tone is kind of Kill 'Em All adjacent. I'm using my Axe FX. I have the Soldano preset, and I just put an EQ to scoop out the mids in front of it. And it's kind of a fake Mesa Boogie sound. And I'm using my Charvel with the John Petrucci Illuminator pickups. So that's how I'm getting that tone. It's not exact, but, it's close enough. I fucking love Kill 'Em All. It's hella underrated. I have it on vinyl. You can listen to it front to back. Even the songs like maybe Motor Breath and Phantom Lord, maybe not my favorite songs. I don't mind hearing them though, like putting them on the album front to back. I'm not like, okay, you know, this is getting tiresome. Kill 'Em All is just an album you can play out of your car and just like, you know, blast out of your car in the summer and be like, kill 'em all. It's fun and it's fast and it's angry and the riffs are amazing and the solos are sick. Yeah, I love this album. Okay, moving on. Ride the Lightning. This is going to be a little anticlimactic. What the fuck? This is going to be a little anticlimactic because like this to me was their peak. This is their best album. To me, there's not really any, although maybe there is a debate about that, but I would definitely consider this their best album. I mean, to me, it really comes down to not only just the riffs, but the songwriting here is so strong. Not only are these songs like heavy as fuck, they kind of sit really well with each other. You have Fight Fire with Fire, which is like super fast. You have that mid-pace Ride the Lightning. You have For Whom the Bell Tolls. Then you have Fade to Black, which is their first ballad. And you have a nice key change. It starts out for, you know, they're usually playing in E minor, but like here they go to B minor and then it stays in A minor for a while. It goes to E a little bit, back to, I think, B minor at the end, if I'm remembering correctly. Like they kind of take you for a ride here. And then you have Trapped Under Ice, which is an F sharp. And so like the album itself flows really well together. It does not wear on you at all. And the sound of the album, even though the production is not the best, it gives you this feeling like you're caught in a storm, which is the theme of the album. It's about lightning, whether it be the electric chair or apocalypse thunderstorms from like nuclear bombs or some shit, apocalyptic biblical plagues, Lovecraftian horrors. It all fits into this just like force of nature feeling, and the sound of the album conforms to that. God, I mean, I can't not talk about Creeping Death, which is, I think, probably my favorite Metallica song, and a lot of people's favorites, but God, that riff, you know. Like, fucking love that riff. I considered that Creeping Death also, like, it's the Passover song, you know? I like Prince of Egypt, it's I. No, Creeping Death is the Passover song. It's about Passover. It's about the Bible. It's about plagues and shit and death. Especially the creeping persuasion. I mean, like, fucking hell, I love that song. So another anecdote about Creeping Death, because I can't stop talking about that song. I had a rabbi way back in the day who once told us that the frog plague was not actually a bunch of frogs raining from the sky. It was actually a giant frog rising out of the water, and then it split into two frogs, and then those two frogs split into four frogs. So it was like frog mitosis. It's a serious plague. Like you don't want to be on the receiving end of that one, right? And coming back to Ride the Lightning and Creeping Death, where like everything on that album has this feeling of just something evil like rising out of the water. And there's this one moment I really love in the guitar solo where Kirk, he kind of goes down on the fretboard and comes up again. I'll kind of demonstrate it. Something like that. And it really just kind of gives you that vibe, like something evil is arising out of the water. And I mean, I feel like only Metallica, at least at that time, could do something like that. I feel like Mastodon definitely took a lot of cues from that, of like making your riffs have an elemental feel, like you're not just writing a guitar solo or riff, like you're writing like the wrath of Mother Nature. I mean, I could talk about Creeping Death for like 30 more minutes. I'll never fully talk shit about Kirk Hammett either because of the stuff he does on this album. Every one of his solos is amazing on this album. It's melodic, it's thoughtful, the note choice is amazing. I think like, I don't like everything he does as a guitar player, but there are two things that I think he does really well. And one of them are these like 2-string arpeggios, like where he really sounds out every note in a way that I think even, some more technically skilled guitar players don't necessarily do that. The other thing is, we really have to give him some credit. Like, his approach to sweep picking and arpeggios on Ride the Lightning is really forward thinking, because like you have to understand, in 1984, Malmsteen just broke and sweep picking was brand new. Not many people were doing it. And if they were doing it, they were doing it super fast. But he was doing stuff like, let's see, I'm probably going to fuck this up. Shit. Like, that lick is really cool. It's not as fast as maybe Malmsteen, but it kind of lets the notes breathe a little bit, and it kind of follows like a chord progression. And this is the type of thing you would see later in progressive metal, like Dream Theater and Opeth and stuff like that. But back in 1984, there really weren't any guitar players doing stuff like this. It was very, very ahead of its time, very forward thinking on Kirk's part. I think even if he hadn't done anything after this album, just for this album alone, I think he deserves his credit. The guitar solos on Ride the Lightning are just fantastic. Okay. So moving on to Master of Puppets. This is where it's going to get real controversial here. This is going in A tier. Okay. Master of Puppets is a masterpiece. Like, don't get me wrong. First of all, the production on it, it's one of the few Metallica albums that's actually produced really, really well. You can hear all the instruments. It sounds heavy as fuck. It's still one of the heaviest sounding albums of all time. You have the title track, which is, it is a masterpiece. Like, there's nothing I can say about Master of Puppets that hasn't already been said, but I can tell you, like, the first time I heard it, it blew my fucking mind, and every time I've heard it since, I have the same reaction. It's a mind-blowing song. The bridge section is just amazing. You have The Thing That Should Not Be, which is probably the heaviest song Metallica has ever written. Really underrated. Battery, of course. Still on the neck pickup. Fuck. Like, fast as fuck. Really, really fun song. I think the problem with Master of Puppets is like this whole middle section here. You have Welcome Home Sanitarium, which is by far their weakest, I think, ballad. At least their more well-known ones. It's an E, which like most of the album is too. Like, doesn't change keys like their other ones do. It doesn't give you like that break. When you hit fade to black and it goes to A minor, it's like, oh, it's a change of pace. Welcome Home Sanitarium doesn't really feel like that. Disposable Heroes is just way too long. I think if it was like it really should have been like a 3 or 4 minute song. But like, that song really drags the album down, and it's like right in the middle. So if you have it on vinyl, you can't really skip it. Leper Messiah is a good song. It's just in the wrong place. Like, it's sandwiched right next to Disposable Heroes, and like, you're just at listener fatigue by then. Then you have Orion, which is amazing. It's their best instrumental. It's an amazing song. Damage Incorporated, pretty good song. Not as good as Creeping Death or Dyer's Eve, but it's pretty good. Master of Puppets has some of their best work on it. Don't get me wrong. And I think most of these songs, if you listen to them by themselves, are awesome. It's just, as an album, it doesn't flow the way Ride the Lightning does. And the way the songs are kind of sandwiched together, sometimes it just doesn't work for me. So that's why it's going there. But I think you can make an argument that like when Master of Puppets works, it's all the way up here at the top. It has the highest of highs of Metallica for sure. Okay. Injustice for All. Injustice for All would be their best album. I think when it comes to songwriting and riffage and like the album as a whole, it's their strongest work, I think. You have Blackened, which is heavy, like just aggressive and heavy and pissed off. You have the title track, which is like a prog song. Like it's like a prog rock song. And I mean, I wouldn't say it's as good as Master of Puppets, but it's still a great song. Then you have Eye of the Beholder, which is another really underrated Metallica track. And the thing about Eye of the Beholder is, when you look at bands in the 90s who really kept metal alive, Pantera, Fear Factory, and Meshuggah are the three that come to mind. They all have a song that sounds suspiciously like that one. Fear Factory has Replica. Meshuggah has one called Erroneous Manipulation, which is a fucking awesome song. It almost feels like all the 90s metal bands kind of listened to Injustice for All and took notes, and it kind of set the stage for what like actual metal in the 90s would sound like. I put it above Master of Puppets songwriting wise. Like I think one is a better song than Welcome Home Sanitarium. As an album, it flows way better. The only weak track on Injustice for All is the Frayed Ends of Sanity. That's the only one that I think is kind of lame. But like other than that, To Live Is to Die is a little too long, but at least it's like a kind of change of pace from the rest of the album. Dyer's Eve, one of their best songs. God, that riff it's so pissed. Like you can't play it if you're in a good mood. You have to just dig in there. I would put it this would be their best album if it weren't for one thing, and that's of course the lack of bass. You're hearing the best album recorded by 3 of the 4 members of the band, and the lack of bass really holds the album back and makes it sound thin. And it's just a bummer that they did this to their bass player, Jason Newsted, because apparently he played really well. It's kind of amazing to me that they were willing to like sabotage their own album just to screw with their bass player. Like that's a whole nother level of petty. And I mean, to me, that's the worst thing they've ever done. The whole Napster thing, like they didn't kill piracy. They actually made it better with LimeWire and then eventually the Pirate Bay. But, with Injustice for All, like taking out those bass tracks, it's like we're not hearing Jason Newsted, who I think is a fantastic bass player, contribute to this album. And like they kind of ruined what I think would have been their best album. God, where do I put it on Master of Puppets? I don't know, man. I think if I had to listen, okay, Master of Puppets, if I had to listen to Master of Puppets, but I could skip certain songs, Master of Puppets wins. But if I have to listen to them all the way through, I'm going to pick Justice. So, yeah. Okay. Onto the Black Album. I fucking hate this album. I fucking hate the Black Album. I hated it the first time I heard it. I've hated it ever since I've tried to listen to it. I've never been able to get through it. It's boring as shit. I'll never understand the hype for this record. God, I don't understand it. Like this is like boring, like dad rock disguised as metal. And I don't understand why Metallica is defined by this record. I mean, I guess the production on it is really good. It's their best sounding album production wise, but like songwriting wise, it's such a dull ass album. Like, okay, so Enter Sandman, that riff is really good. Not gonna lie, like there's a reason that song's popular. As a song, I mean, it's just like what, it doesn't really go anywhere. It just kind of hangs on that one riff. The guitar solo is not good. It's not a good guitar solo either. Like if it wasn't the guitar solo to their most famous song, I don't think anyone would care about it. Sad But True, yeah, it's an okay song. Again, it could be a little shorter. Holier Than Thou, it's a fucking stupid song. Unforgiven, Best song on the album. It's actually Unforgiven is the only. It's one of two songs on here that I like. Unforgiven and Through the Never, which could have been on Injustice for All. Every other song on here is just like boring ass dad rock that I struggle to even like get through. Nothing Else Matters is like just they didn't need another ballad on this record. And it's just a collection of like rock and roll cliches. Like there's nothing new on it. The thing is, like, I don't think Metallica's a great metal band. I don't think they're a good rock band. You know, if I were to have to listen to like arena rock or whatever, I love kind of blues, metal, rock hybrid bands. I just would not listen to Metallica doing it. I'd rather listen to like Soundgarden or Kyuss or Queens of the Stone Age or like any of those other bands that actually do it well. I mean, the songwriting on this record is just so weak. Like these songs just drag on. They don't really have those interludes that you had with Master of Puppets and Injustice for All, where they change keys and change stuff up. It's all just very samey. Yeah, I hate this album also just because of the effect it's had on Metallica and the metal community as a whole. Every metal album in the 90s had to make their own version of this album, and they all fucking sucked. I mean, I think this did more to kill heavy metal in the 90s than Nevermind did. I think Nevermind's a heavier album than the Black Album, you know? Like Stay Away is a heavier song than anything on the fucking Black Album. So I don't know why people give Nirvana shit for killing metal when you have like the biggest metal band in the world releasing this shit. Again, I don't hate Metallica for selling out. I wasn't alive back then. In my 30s now, I understand why they wanted to sell out and why they wanted more money. It makes sense to me. I just wish they wrote better music. And yeah, so that same with goes with Reload and Load and Reload, whatever. I have not been able to even sit through these two albums. I've tried. It's boring as shit to me. Like, forgettable. I don't remember like a single riff except maybe Until It Sleeps, which is okay, I guess. It's so forgettable to me. Like, God, there's so much good like rock metal hybrid music in this era too. You could listen to Melvins, you could listen to like Mudvayne, any of the new metal bands, like fucking Deftones. Jesus Christ, Deftones. Like, listen to them if you want melodic metal that's kind of has like a soft side and explores songwriting. Listen to fucking Deftones. Don't bother with this shit. I'll never understand the hype. Especially from a band that I know can do so much better. Okay, we're gonna skip this one. Saint Anger. This is sad dad music. The dads are sad and they get mad, and when they get mad, their guitars go out of tune, which is what happened on Saint Anger. Fuck. I mean, it's a bad album. I can't deny that, everything that anyone has said about it is true. Like, the guitars are out of tune, it sounds like shit, the snare sounds like shit, the songs are too long, they ramble on about nothing. But it's also kind of funny, right? Because, like, there are these like sad dad middle-aged guys, and like they had a therapist write one of their songs. I think it was Dirty Window. It's clear that like that song was written by a therapist, and it's really funny to me. The song Some Kind of Monster, to me, I still think that like I can't believe that they put that on a record, and it's not a joke. It's hilarious to me. The thing about Saint Anger, though, is there are some good ideas on here. Like, Frantic has a really good riff. The title track, I think, would be really good if it was like 3 minutes and not 8 minutes. I actually kind of dig that, like, fast. I like the fast Metallica shit. So, I think it kind of works in its own way. And then you have Sweet Amber, which is like a good song. It's a good song, and I mean, like, they did what they were trying to do for the past, like, 15 years, which is to write a Soundgarden song. It sounds like a Soundgarden song, and they pull it off. And I think if they did the entire album like that, like, kept the songs all under 4 minutes, made them fast and energetic, and then did their, like, therapy dad stuff over that, it would be a good album. I would much rather listen to this than the Black Album, honestly. It's still awful. I'd struggle to get through it, but I mean, there are some moments on here that I think stick out a little bit more than, like, any of their 90s stuff. But I mean, that's not to say it's good. It's not. Okay, Death Magnetic. This was the first Metallica album that I was actually hyped for. This is the first album that I was old enough to actually, like, be in anticipation of. And, mostly because it was, like, them redeeming themselves. And, I mean, yeah, they redeem themselves here. I still have to put it below these two here, just because, like, I don't think it quite sticks together as a full album. There's definitely some low points here, but there are some, like, legitimate high points on Death Magnetic. I think All Nightmare Long is one of the best songs I've ever written. Cyanide, in my opinion, is a better version of Enter Sandman because it's about death, which is, like, what they're good at writing about. Broken, Beaten, Scarred is some really cool riffing on it. The Day That Never Comes has some really good lead work by Kirk Hammett at the end. There's some really good solos. I mean, yeah, I like Death Magnetic. Obviously, the production on it's terrible. I don't know why they did that, like, why they ruined, like, yet another album of theirs. But, I mean, if you're still a Metallica fan at this point, like, you have to be used to them doing this. They really like to sabotage their own music. Death Magnetic is a pretty damn good album. I would absolutely listen to it. Like, once I run out of their 80s stuff, I just kind of go right here. And I listen to quite a few of the songs. I'm going to just put these two down here, probably. Their newer stuff. I don't really listen to it a lot. I've heard it. It's good. They kind of have their, like, thrash style back. There's, Hardwired to Self-Destruct and Spit Out the Bone are really good songs. Other than that, I think the songs, they drag on too long. I think the problem is that, like, no one is telling them to cut their songs shorter. So, like, you have these 8-minute songs that stay in the same key and don't really go anywhere. And I think that really holds their music back. But I think they might have replaced Lars with a drum machine, which is an improvement. And James Hetfield, like he, as a guitar player and as a singer, he's still got it. Like, that guy can still play very, very well. And it's really cool to just hear him work. I think if I were to see them live and they played stuff from their new albums, I would be totally cool with it. And, if someone was, like, blasting it in a music store, I'd be okay with it. But I wouldn't really seek it out by myself. I'd much rather just listen to these and then go on to another band like Testament or Anthrax or something like that. So this is my Metallica tier rankings. As you can see, I think Kill 'Em All is way too low on most people's lists. I fucking love Kill 'Em All. Black Album, I'll never understand it. I hate it. I hate the way it sounds. I hate the music. I hate the impact it's had on metal. Again, it's not because it's popular, and it's not because it's softer. If they put out a good, like, soft metal album, I'd be okay with it. I like Ozzy's stuff. When he does, like, more pop songs, I'm okay with it because he does it well. I'm talking like some of the Blizzard of Oz songs that are a little, like, kind of more glitzier. I'm okay with that. I like Van Halen. A perfect example is Opeth with album Heritage. I really like that one, where they kind of stripped down a lot of their metal stuff and they, did a lot of more kind of classic rock, kind of prog stuff. They pulled it off, but I don't think Metallica is a good rock band. I just don't. It's not that I don't like rock music. It's not that I don't like, them selling out or whatever. It's just, it's not what they're good at. Like, what they're good at is, heavy riffs and singing about death. That's where they really shine. Guitar harmonies, songs about war, corruption, heavy fucking palm mutes. That's what I go to Metallica for. So obviously, like, their best albums are the ones that have that. And I think like when they're really cooking as songwriters, I think that's what sets them apart from other metal bands. When they can really put a song together that flows really well as a song, that's what sets them apart from most metal bands. But, you know, at times they kind of forget how to do that, and you get songs that just go on forever and really just fatigue on your ears in a way that like other metal bands don't. I mean, like Slayer doesn't do that. Their songs are short. Yeah. You know, Metallica, when they're not, you know, playing to their strengths, it can be really exhausting to listen to them. So yeah, there's my tier list. You know, fuck this bullshit. This is a bullshit list. This is a real one.